I've never been one of those people that will say the current year is the worst. The people that will say, oh, 2012 was the worst, 2019 was the worst, or like if you were liberal in particular, 2016 was the worst because Trump was elected and all that. And I guess if Biden get elected later this year, I'll probably say the same thing. But that being said, if there's ever been a time I would love to hop into a DeLorean and go to another time, it'll be this year. Because I'm pretty sure I am not alone in saying 2020 absolutely sucks.
From the highways of America, here's the podcast where we talk politics, a little entertainment, some culture, and this and that, from the road to your ears. This is Trend Chat with your host, Brian Bledsoe.
And welcome to another episode of Trend Chat. I am your host, Brian Bledsoe. And here we go. This is different now. If you want to connect with us, we're on Facebook or Snapchat. It's at TrendChat247. But if you want to connect with us on Instagram or Twitter, it's at Brian L. Bledsoe. The L stands for ludicrous, as not the rapper, but this year 2020. I really I don't know why I said that. I thought about that for like the split second. I'm going to say something clever in there. And anyway, so yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. Like I said, and this whole year has been we would love to do a do-over. And I'm thinking I'm going to just name this episode, let's just cancel 2020 or something like that. I don't know. But, honestly, it has been a steady stream of horribleness. It's not the one I couldn't pronounce that because that's not even a word, but you get what I'm saying. It's, it seems like it never ends. And here we are now. I guess first off, I would just say we're broadcasting out of Missouri. I said maybe 50 miles outside of Kansas City a little bit. On our way to Michigan actually tomorrow. But yeah, it's now we're in, it's hurricane season. So that's every year, but having hurricane season on top of all of what's been going on, it's just like, you would hope that maybe, there would be, okay, hurricane season just going to take a year off or something. But no, that's not how it goes. So now we have that. We already had, I think, Hurricane Hannah already, and a couple others as well. But now we got that to look forward to. Yay. So, but I'm just thinking about this whole year in particular. I don't know. I didn't expect this to be like some sort of year review type episode, but I guess I can just kind of start off just from what I'm thinking of now. So the year kind of started off nice for me personally, I would just say, because in January I went and visited a friend in Arizona. We went to the range, shot some guns, and we went hiking, and it was a nice couple of days, and then boom, news hit right after, right at the end of that trip. Hear about Kobe Bryant dying. And we were both fans of Kobe, so when we heard the news, everything just came real somber. And actually, it seems like it just been constantly bad news ever since. You had that, and what went on with there, with the helicopter crash with Kobe Bryant and all that, and pretty much even then there were talks about about the coronavirus and all that, and if it's spreading and how important, if it's really going to come here and all of that, and just they also on top of that, we've also had the impeachment that Congress was trying to do at the same time. So I feel like that was a bit distracting from worrying about coronavirus. They were too busy trying to impeach Trump. But that being said, then coronavirus hits. And, the Wu flu, the China virus, the Wuhan shutdown, just making sure I say all of that to make sure you don't forget where it came from. China. Don't forget that. Because you hear a lot of people in the media just try to dismiss that, or try to make it seem like if you mention that, that's somewhat racist. No, we're talking about the origin of where this came from. I know the people in the media want to, placate to China, and try to coddle them and whatever, or try to absolve them from their part in all of this. But yeah, so we have that, and then with all the shutdowns and everything that's been going on since then, opening, closing again, and just watching the majority of people just accept what these states and cities are, doing, to where they just let them do whatever. And most people are just letting them do it with whether it's the mask mandates, or just shutting down the economy, or shutting down church services and all of that. And most people give no consideration to how this is going to affect, our rights in the long term. I mean, I have no problem if people choose to follow recommendations, of whatever, whether it's mask or whatever. But my problem is when it becomes mandatory, therefore increasing the government's control over the people. But let me just say this though. When I'm saying things kind of like this, especially if someone like myself, you're pro-life and you're making arguments, about abolishing abortion and stuff like that. Whenever you start making those comments, you're pretty sure you're going to come across someone that makes the despicable argument. I mean, it's just horrendous that someone makes this argument, but it almost never fails when you get into those arguments when it comes to abortion. And you'll come across someone that is pro-choice, and they'll just say something like, well, I hope you have a daughter and gets raped and get pregnant, then you'll change your mind about abortion then. That's, like I said, it's just a despicable, way of wanting, wishing something on on someone just because you disagree. But like in this case, so if you talking about your concerns as far as government overreach, when it comes to this, everything about coronavirus, someone will probably say, I bet if you had a loved one with, COVID, you wouldn't care about your rights so much. So let me just say this right now. I do know someone that had COVID that tested positive. I had a loved one that tested positive. So now, in knowing that, has that changed my opinion as far as what's been going on with the government and how they're what their new powers is, how they're going to infringe more on our rights? Not one bit. Still hasn't changed. Because I've said this before on the podcast. Also, I know there was a article on the Daily Signal that asked me about being conservative and all that. I've mentioned it on there as well, and I'll say it again now. I advocate for conservative principles because they're best for everyone, regardless of my personal outcome. So That's how I'm looking at all of this that is going on. It's not how it's going to be best for me. No, I'm looking out for making sure that these policies and principles that I advocate for, I fully believe are best for everyone. Like I said, regardless of whether I benefit from it or not. So I just want to say that for the people that want to make that disturbing argument. And but so after all of this with coronavirus, with COVID, with the boo flu, and all of that, now, I mean, which I will say is going on now, you watch people across the country embrace a socialist, Marxist, communist, quote unquote progressive organization like Black Lives Matter that use like a small number of horrible, unfortunate police interactions, especially what happened a few months ago with George Floyd, and use those few horrible events and basically use that as a Trojan horse, I will say, to advocate Marxist policies that will just trample over what's left of our freedom, and basically just be slaves to their government. I mean, to be quite frank. I mean, yeah, they'll say it's for the people, similar to, the official name of China is the People's Republic of China. Well, that's a nice sounding name for a communist country. And I mean, people eating it up. I mean, you got media, celebrities, sport leagues, all using all their influence to push this on the public to basically to do what, as Obama said, and what was it? It was a couple of days before he actually was elected in 2008. They're doing exactly or pushing towards fundamentally transforming the United States of America. So it's all this has been going on, and like I said, this is July. We're getting close to August. Like I said, I didn't think this was going to be like some sort of year in review or something like that. But yeah, that's so far, and we we have the election coming up soon. So, I mean, who knows? Like I said, I've never been one of those people, but I have a feeling that if how this year is going so far, I think this year I'll probably be one of those people that just may say, 2020 was just horrible.
This is Trend Chat.
Hey guys, this is Morgan Zegers, the founder and CEO of Young Americans Against Socialism. We are a nonprofit organization working to preserve a free, fair, and prosperous America for generations to come, all by equipping our generation with the truth about socialism. If you're interested in watching our educational videos, donating to the cause, joining the Ask Coalition, or becoming a contributor, you can do all of these things at fightsocialism.org. We hope you'll join us in this crucial fight for the future of our great country. Thanks!
Hey, it's Lawrence Jones with Fox News. Check out Trend Chat with my brother Brian Bledsoe.
So you want to keep America great, but you don't know where to go to get some Trump-centered gear? Check out Trumpmodecom. And if you put in the code TRENDCHAT, you get 10% off. So at Trumpmug.com, they have flags, coins, mugs, of course. So go to Trumpmug.com, put in the code TRENDCHAT, get 10% off. Again, Trumpmug.com with the code TRENDCHAT for 10% off.
So, I guess it has been a while. That's actually been a couple of weeks since the last episode with director Justin Malone talking about Uncle Tom, and I guess some things have kind of some of the stuff I can bring up right now would be old news, so it really wouldn't be as trending as this this podcast is supposed to be, talking about trends and all that, or what's trending. But I just want to make sure I still want to say this: Nick Cannon is a racist. Just I mean, don't really want to go much more into it. Like I said, it's kind of old news, but I just want to make sure that's on the record. Nick Cannon is a racist, using the same language that white supremacists would use to devalue black people. He did the same to try to devalue white people, and that's it. I'm have nothing else about that. So I guess I have been doing these little inventory updates, I guess, but I just kind of been backing off of them because there was nothing new to really say. But that being said, I guess is that even the music I use for that? I don't know. I don't know if that's the right one or not. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So the inventory update right now is that it's the same from, I think the last time I mentioned, is that pretty much everything else, for the most part, in most places I've gone to across the country, most stuff is pretty much restocked, except disinfectant spray and disinfectant spray in particular, I will say, because I've seen hand sanitizer, I see pretty much everything else, but the one thing is rare to see on the shelf is disinfectant spray. Now, second to that is disinfectant wipes. Those two in particular are just two items that are just hard to find still. And even with the disinfectant wipes in particular, if you do find them, it's still not a lot of them. And so, again, I guess I will keep saying this, is that if you're still looking for those two in particular, now it varies depending on where you are across the country. There's some places that are still short on a lot of the stuff like sanitizer, and even having a bit of a meat shortage and all that. But generally, I would say a lot of places are pretty much kind of about 75% restocked. But the two things that you just can't find still is disinfectant spray and wipes. So when it comes to that, I guess I just keep mentioning this part, especially, is that your best bet is to go first thing in the morning, whenever these stores open up, because when we deliver the loads and all that, it's it's normally early in the morning, and then they put it on the shelf early, and it's normally there. You have a much better chance in getting it in the morning than trying to wait till after work or something like that, or even by noon. So so that's the inventory update for this. That's a whole nother sound. All right, man, you got it's a whole nother sound. Okay, anyway, it really doesn't matter. So with that, I guess let's just go into the shout outs, because we haven't, I don't know if we did it last episode or not, but anyway, yes, and that is the right sound. So shouting out the locations across the globe, actually. So starting off with the countries, let's put it that way. Germany. Yes, people in Germany, thank you for listening out there. Whoever listening in Germany, I would say, contact us, but everybody contact us. I don't think I even mentioned this in the beginning. So it's trendchat247@gmail.com. That's our email address. So yeah, thanks to Germany, thanks to Peru, thanks to Mexico, and obviously number one with 95% is the United States. So, but still, again, the fact that I see other countries that have listened to this show is always mind-boggling. So anyway, now going to the cities, as I just mentioned, we're broadcasting close to Kansas City tonight, and number 10 is Kansas City. Matter of fact, that is it 10? Yeah. Okay. Well, we about to find out if it's 10. I'm not going to count it. So, all right. Yeah, Kansas City, number 10. Butler, Pennsylvania, number 9. Clinton, North Carolina is number 8. I shouldn't have started this count. Clem, oh boy, this is the one I haven't heard. Clem, Elam, and the song has stopped. Start the song back up again. Cleveland, Washington. It's CLEELUM, Washington. So I butchered that name. I know I did. And so then after that it's Las Vegas and Allen, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, Dallas, Texas. All that is kind of in the same Dallas, Fort Worth area, North Texas. And then Clifton, New Jersey. And number 1 is Arlington, Texas, which, it should be, because why not? I mean, I live in Arlington. So yeah, appreciate everyone that has been listening. And I just love giving out these little shout outs because, for one, it just amazes me to see, especially seeing the countries outside of the United States and outside of Texas, honestly. But so yeah, all right, cut out. So in talking about everything that happened with 2020 and with all the shutdowns and everything that's been going on, another aspect of all that is also with events, movie theaters, concerts, and etc., and political conventions. And I will say right now, so the Texas State Convention, Republican State Convention, is still going. If you actually, I guess you could say we're standing at ease still. We were able to get some parts of it completed. We were able to get our delegates elected and other business, because at the time we thought we were against the clock, because we had to get everything turned in at a certain deadline so we could have it all ready for the national convention. I said it at the time because now the national convention has been canceled for the most part. I mean, the business part of it that's going to be held in Charlotte is still going to go on, but the other festivities that was going to go on in Jacksonville, all that was canceled. So, which kind of makes all that happened during the Texas State Convention just made it. It stings a little more because we were up to like 3:00 in the morning trying to make sure we got all that done before the deadline, and now it was all for nothing. Like, we really could have just waited, could have just took our time, but like I said, we didn't know. So, but it just now, just looking back at it, it's just like, oh man, I wish I could have got them hours back. But as far as the convention itself, or the state convention, we still have business to tend to, and we're working on that, and I guess we'll figure that out whenever. I don't know. So it's whatever. I guess we'll just find out. So now, one thing I want to also bring up right now is that I know I brought up that right now I am co-hosting another podcast, if you can believe it, on Blexit, Texas. So if you don't know, I'm an advisor with Blexit, Texas, and we have started a video podcast that we do every Sunday at 7:00 with myself and Harper Price. So it's called Liberty and Freedom. So just want to mention that, so you can check that out. It's on the Blexit, Texas Facebook page. And just like I said, search Blexit, Texas. And I'm guessing people know people who are listening here would know about Blexit. That's the organization that was founded by Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum. And so, and now they have split off into putting, chapters in different states. And so now they have the one in Texas. And so I'm a part of it as an advisor. And I just want to mention that. So if people want to check that out. And actually we had an episode this past Sunday, but 2 Sundays ago, we actually weren't able to because of everything that was going on with the convention. So that's another thing. Like, man, I could have just done the podcast. But anyway, no point of harping on that. No point of getting on. Just it is what it is. Also, a friend of mine also did a podcast. She's starting a podcast, and I don't know if it's even haven't been published yet. But we did a podcast recently, and I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's out yet, but it was just a conversation talking about a documentary called American Gospel, and I would say that it's a great documentary, and I think people definitely check it out. It's called American Gospel and Christ Alone. Yeah. And so check out the podcast. Check out the podcast on Blexit, Texas, and just want to put those out there. I think I'm supposed to be doing some on Instagram tomorrow. Tomorrow being what the 29th. So I don't know. But just I guess I wanted to get all that out to one before I forget. So anyway, I guess I'm going to start a segment that I've been wanting to do, but I'm going to do it after this break. And so first, hear a word from Expressions, and we're going to get to this segment that we may do one time and one time only. So,
this is Lacey Williams, the founder and president of Expressions Magazine, letting you know that you can order our quarterly magazine and support female conservatives by visiting express-conservatism.com, or you can follow us on social media. On Instagram with the username of expressions_conservemag, or on Twitter with the handle of @express_conserve. Get your copy today.
This is Dana Lash, and you're listening to Trend Chat.
This is Trend Chat.
All right. Yeah. All right. I haven't played that in a while. That was a random selection, actually. So yeah, I wanted to, before I did want to bring up about this, the St. Louis couple that was out there in front of their house with a rifle and a handgun, husband and wife not there, and kind of the things that have been going on with them. But before that, I want to get to this segment because I think it's funny. But I just wanted to start this segment by saying, before I get into it, is that because I've talked about all the problems, all what's been going on in 2020 and all that, and just how depressing it all has been this year and all that. And that being said, there are a lot of things that go on that are not really as dire as we want to make it seem. And it's whenever that comes around, whenever that happens, people tend to say that, well, that's first world problems. Like, it's not something that big of a deal. We kind of make it like it's like it's such a big deal, but it really is not. So anyway, from that, I kind of had something that happened and which I was complaining about, kind of talking about the shopping carts and stuff like that, where that's a first world problem to have that as a pet peeve, that people don't put shopping carts in the stall and all that. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but it irks me. So whatever. And so that being said, I want to start a segment called First World Problems. That is not the sound. Where's the sound of this? Like, I had this all set up. That was a nice setup, and I ruined it. Again, it's like that's another first world problem. So, see how that would have sounded if I would have done that correctly. Anyway, I just want to have this snooty music in the background because, like I said, it's not really that important. But anyway, I just want to get this off my chest. So my birthday just passed last month, and when when your birthday come around, and especially if you sign up to get emails from restaurants or whatever, a lot of times they want you to give your birthday, put your birthday so they can give you, they'll email you a coupon or whatever for your, for your birthday. Get 20% off of this, or get a free meal, or get this and that, or whatever. And so I received one of these emails, and one in particular it kind of, it really is nerve-wracking, is for Waffle House. So I had a email from for a free birthday waffle from Waffle House. So I go to I was parked next to a Waffle House. I said, okay, let me just get my my birthday waffle. Walked in there, ordered a waffle, and then they cooked it and everything, and then it was time to pay. I pulled out my phone. I said, yeah, here's the email for my birthday waffle. And then they looked at it, and they said, well, I'm sorry, sir. We have to have it printed. I'm like, you're telling me you can't just, I'm showing you the email right here. It says right there, it has the reference number and everything right there for this birthday waffle. And you're saying you still can't just, you can't grant it because it's not printed. Like, I have to go to a printer and waste paper and bring it back for you to accept it, even though I'm showing it to you. Anyway, all that being said, why is Waffle House making me have to print a coupon that you sent via email? I mean, if it was so important that it has to be printed, why didn't you just send it in the mail? If it has to have, has to be tangible, has to have paper on it. I don't, just, anyway, that's my, that's my rant. That's my first world problem. I don't know if I'm going to have another one. That's why I said this may be the first and last time we'll have that segment. So, there. All right. So, I guess to liven up the mood a little bit before I talk on this last subject, which is the St. Louis couple, in which I have totally forgotten their name and I don't have it written down. So, the couple that were outside when the Black Lives Matter protest went through a St. Louis suburb, and they broke down a fence, and then this husband and wife came out. One had a handgun, the wife had a handgun, and the husband had a rifle, and they were out there, I would just say, guarding their property, because they don't know who these people are. And they've already destroyed some part of your property, or if not just part of the property in the community. And so anyway, they were there, and not surprisingly, after that went viral, it it was on all news channels and everything. And so now charges have been brought up, but also they were brought up, but then also they were basically dismissed because I think the Attorney General in Missouri is not going to pursue. And so anyway, but all that being said, I'm not trying to get into all of that because I just wanted to kind of focus on this, because if you own a firearm, and this goes not only just for them, because this goes for anybody. This is the advice, actually something I mentioned a little bit on the Blexit, Texas podcast this past Sunday, when my advice to anyone that owns a firearm, I mean, whether you had it for years or you just become a firearm owner or a gun owner, like I've heard from, there's been a huge uptick this year in gun sales and a lot of first-time gun owners. So if you are one of those first-time gun owners in particular, let me give you this bit of advice. Now that you have a firearm, you better know what you're doing. You better know the laws in your state, in your town, in your city, and all of that. Because as soon as you show that firearm, and especially as soon as you pull it out and brandish that weapon, your life is going to change to some degree. It could be a small degree, could be a huge degree. If you just pull, you brandish the weapon and you, especially if you're pouring it and all that, your life is going to change. Because one, if the police is there and they get involved, and you pretty much going to have to either go to the station, or, like I said, a lot is going to happen. So if you're in a situation, you better be sure that it's worth pulling that weapon, because you're going to have to go through a lot now. Little, like I say, it could be little or a lot. Because look, politicians for decades have added itty bitty little needling laws when it comes to firearms, whether it's to the federal level all the way down to the municipal level. So you best to just try to keep up with the laws, and unfortunately a lot of people don't. There are a lot of things that get that get overlooked, and people don't really realize that they could be breaking the law, or could be for whatever reason, because of all these itty bitty little cuts into our Second Amendment rights. So one thing, whether it's kind of like for the couple in St. Louis, basic responsible gun handling helps. And like I said, you need to know everything as much as possible, at least, to try to cover yourself whenever you're going to brandish a weapon, whenever you're going to a show of force by using a weapon. You need to know what you're getting yourself into, and really think long and hard if the situation is it worth it to pull that weapon. Because for one, in this case, for that couple in St. Louis, so as soon as that happened, there were a ton of gun control activists, and as well as Black Lives Matter and all them. When that story went viral, all of those people just were combing through all the books to try to find any little law to try to get them in trouble, try to pin them on something. And it probably won't be hard, because there are all these little laws that are out there, and they can find something. And kind of similar to, like trying to find racism in everything, really. But they'll find something. So yeah. But like I said, that's the advice for anyone that is looking to become a gun owner or who has become one recently. So I would, but still, I hope that doesn't deter you from wanting to exercise your Second Amendment rights. So that's all we have for this episode, and I appreciate everyone listening. I appreciate you liking, sharing, and subscribing. And so, we've been going through a couple of changes. Like I guess you heard in the beginning, we've kind of consolidated some of the pages and all that. So anyway, but we're still going to be here for at least a little while longer. So thank you for listening, and I guess until next week, we'll chat with you later.